Breathing right is so crucial for our well-being. And yet, we don't really pay attention to our breathing and fall into unhelpful, incorrect habits of breathing. Largely, our breathing is automated. It just happens on its own. And that's one of the reasons we don't pay attention to it. We don't bring our awareness to it. And due to our mental habits, due to our tendencies, we just fall into these ways of breathing that are not just unhealthy for our mental health, but also our physical health. So, in this video, we are going to talk about breathing correctly using the diaphragm. And this video is divided into 3 parts. In the first part, we will talk about what is this habit of incorrect breathing. In the second part, we will talk about the role of the diaphragm in breathing. And the third, finally, we will talk about how to actually practice diaphragmatic breathing, which is correct way of breathing. Now you have timestamps for all these 3 given below in case you want to switch to another part. So to start with, what is this incorrect habit of breathing? You can call this incorrect habit chest breathing. Chest breathing is incorrect breathing. What happens here is that as we breathe in, we are expanding our chest. As we breathe in, it's the chest that's becoming extended, not the belly. The correct way to breathe is in the belly. However, what happens is chest breathing is associated with a state of the nervous system known as the fight and flight reaction. So if we are stressed, if the system feels it's under threat, for example, if we are worried about some future issue, we are thinking about how our life is going, is it okay, is it not, or we are worried about the presentation we have to give tomorrow or anything. The system is in stress, and when the system is in stress, it moves automatically into chest breathing. Before we know, we get so habituated to being in stress that we continue to breathe through our chest, and this becomes our habit, which means we stay in stress, we breathe wrong, less oxygen is brought into our blood, less waste gases are being thrown out of our body, our blood pressure is remaining higher, our heart rate is remaining higher. Naturally, over a period of time, we are not well physically, and when we are stressed and tensed, our cortisol levels are high, and we are not feeling mentally healthy and well either. So what do? We understand how to breathe correctly, but to understand that, we go to the second part, which is to understand how to use our diaphragm correctly. What is this diaphragm and how is it so important in breathing? Now the diaphragm is an inverted dome-shaped muscle, and that muscle is just below our lungs. It's around our lower ribs. Now what happens to the diaphragm is, as we breathe in, this muscle that is inverted dome-shaped flattens. As it flattens, it puts pressure on the lower organs. And as that happens, the belly comes out. So this kind of breathing is known as belly breathing. It does not mean that we are breathing into the belly. We cannot breathe into the belly. We can technically only breathe into our lungs. But when we breathe correctly and deeply into our lungs, automatically, because of this movement of the diaphragm, which is flattening, the belly gets extended. And again, as we breathe out, as the air releases from our lungs, the diaphragm resumes its normal shape. So the flattening effect changes back to the dome shape. It removes pressure from the abdomen, from the belly, and the belly goes in. Which means that when you're breathing in, your belly goes out. When you're breathing out, your belly goes in. Now this is the right way of breathing. And this is the important role that the diaphragm plays in breathing. So in a lot of yoga classes, in a lot of meditation groups, you will hear that people say, breathe into your belly, breathe into your diaphragm. What they are technically, essentially saying is that breathe into this area. Breathe deep in a way that all of this extends, and when you breathe out, this releases. This is what it means. Now coming to the third part of our work, which is how to do it, how to practice diaphragmatic breathing. A very simple way just right now is to put one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly, And firstly, before you start the practice, completely relax the muscles of the abdomen. Completely relax your belly. If you're holding your belly tight inside, it's very difficult to breathe correctly. Let the belly fall loose. Let the belly be relaxed. And start with an exhale. Start with an exhale in a way that your navel moves closer to the spine. So as you exhale, your hand, your lower hand keeps going inside, goes inside. And as you inhale, just relax and let the air fill up passively. So you're not making too much of strenuous effort in this area. The idea is not to push this out and try to breathe through it. That's not a right way of doing diaphragmatic breathing. The right way is to actually work harder on the exhale, which is easier to work hard on. So let the exhale be active, let the inhale be passive. Now if you find this very difficult to do in a sitting posture, start doing this while lying down. Again, keeping both your hands like this. And try that when you exhale, your navel moves closer to the spine. And then as you inhale, you just let your belly fill up. Of course, your chest will move a little, but mostly the movement must come from this area, from the belly area. Now, another way of feeling this is also feeling it on the side of the body. So, even if you support yourself on the sides and you breathe in, this should extend. You should feel your side extending, and as you breathe out, your side coming back. So that's a simple way of diaphragmatic breathing. Do practice this before you start your meditation, because breathing right is very helpful before you get into your meditation practice.